Coming up on this episode of Stay on Track. So there'll be a strong pairing, but there will be more determination within the team from Oscar to stop Lando beating him again.
Well, the apple cart is an interesting one. When I was with Michael at Benetton, I remember I did an article somewhere and I said, I want to be world champion this year. And I think within about 2 hours, there was another article that came out in Germany that Michael responded to sort of say, if he thinks he's going to win the world championship this year, he's got another thing coming.
You know, we always hear about the kind of Zen master, Kung Fu master, you know, who's 75 years old. And
Yes.
you know, he can still lay everyone out.
Yeah.
Is that possible, or is that just a load of rubbish?
Yeah, that I don't know. Hello.
Hello.
We are. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Another one comes very, very quickly. That last year, my lord, that went quick.
What did?
Hey, the year.
Oh, yeah.
The whole year. Well,
completely
it's
missed it.
scary.
What happened?
Exactly. Yes. So anyway, yes, it's all going to be kicking off.
It's new regulation year.
It is.
What is it called, the new regulation? I don't know. It's basically the 26 regulations.
Yes. Yeah. More updates, more changes.
But we're going to help you try and understand it, and we'll go as we go through it. We'll have a little look back before we move forward.
Yeah.
And think about what came out of 25 that's going to have an effect through into 26, because certainly the cars are going to be totally different.
Totally different.
And that's going to take a lot of head scratching and learning new terminology, which we'll help you with, or you could help us with, because actually, to be honest, there's quite a lot of learning there. But so it is exciting, and Lando Norris as world champion will have the number one on his car.
Yes, which is going to be good to see, actually, and Max with a new number as well, changing his number. So it's going to be interesting to see how the engineers deal with all the new regulations, from the combustion unit part of it to the 50-50 split of the batteries as well, losing the MGU H as well from the turbo side of it. So that's going to be a big shift.
That was using the turbo to charge the battery. That's not there, but the turbo's still there.
Yeah.
And but the battery's got massive, so it's producing 50% of the horsepower.
Yes, but I know a lot of the problems that they've been having is the depletion of the battery during the running. That seems to be the biggest thing, because the battery's not just there for a little bit of a boost. It's actually there to help the power band of the engine as well. So it will fill little gaps that maybe the combustion side of it needs, but that's taking energy into the system, but out of the battery system. Then you've got to try and then balance how much of that power you're going to be using from the electrification side of it. So it's a big test for the engineers, for sure.
And the drivers.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have to learn all this stuff. It's new techniques for driving. It's going to be a lot of fiddling about with the settings, and parts of the circuit they'll be able to use the maximum downforce. So the front wings and the rear wings will be going up together. Yeah. And then wings, when they get to the straight, they drop them. So instead of DRS, the front wing goes down as well. So they can actually use some corners. They can go through those with the low downforce setting if they can, as I understand it. So it potentially means that drivers will be using different techniques around the circuit, whether they might mandate certain corners have to use downforce.
Yes, I hope so. I hope that's going to be the way.
They have to use the high downforce setup as well.
Yes,
which
is good actually. Well, that's good actually, because I know at the moment they always use their race setup. So if it rains, you can't adjust the wings. So it's good that you can adjust the wings to those more downforce in a wet conditions. That will actually make the racing better.
So lots of complications.
Yeah, lots of complications.
To confuse us. But we're going to try and get, everyone's going to be absolutely mad trying to get their cars to work. First of all, they've got to go testing. So that'll be January and February. They've got quite a lot of testing to do.
Big time.
And we'll be keeping a keen eye on that, won't we?
Yes.
It'll be very, very interesting seeing how the teams cope. We've got a new team coming in.
Yeah.
Cadillac.
As well.
22 cars.
Yeah. 11th. It's
going to get crowded in the pit lane.
Yeah, very much so. It is, yes. But I tell you what, should we kick it off with something? Predictions.
Predictions?
Yeah, so we do some predictions. Yeah.
Okay.
Ready for this?
Okay, I predict you're going to predict the next thing that's going to happen.
Will Norris kick on to another level? What is your prediction on that, Damon?
Right, so he's done it, Yep. And there's a lot of comfort that comes from that. He will be able to some degree, relax. I mean, I think, it's a question of the amount of avarice you have to win. Yeah. I mean, I always thought when Michael won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 championships, he'd had enough, but then he went to 1, 2 more.
Yeah, sure.
So,
yes.
and so some people, it propels them to go on to win multiple championships. I definitely think Lando's got more than one in him. I think he's probably got 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And the question is, will Oscar, because he's in the same team with Oscar, and Oscar did not exactly underperform. There were moments that he dropped out last year. He will go through the winter and think, okay, what do I have to do to patch up those little holes in my performance? And he will find out how to stop that happening again. Of course, they've both been through a title fight between themselves, and then Max, of course, at the end, putting pressure on them. And they will have learnt massively from that. So there'll be a strong pairing, but there will be more determination within the team from Oscar to stop Lando beating him again.
Yeah, and I think for me, Lando, he grew massively last season. Really did learn what he needed to stop himself from doing on the racetrack. Some crazy decision making. Let's go to Canada when he crashed into the pit wall trying to pass his teammate. Those sort of incidents are something that you should never ever really get yourself into. So he'll learn from that. He'll be stronger from that. Have we seen the best of Lando Norris? No, definitely not. I think there is still more to come. That World Championship will be very powerful personally with him and the energy he takes into the car. But he's still got to be very wary of his teammate, like you've said. But you've also got to work out how to make the team work best, because it didn't work at its best last year.
Well, which raises the question as to whether or not Lando can. I mean, they want to keep everything even in that team. Quite famously, they wanted to have their papaya rules, and I expect they will want to kick off the 26th season saying you've both got equal chance. Good luck. We might have learned a lesson from what happened at the end if we're getting some heat from someone else. But we can't make these assumptions. We don't know what car they've got. We don't know. Nobody knows what the form. You could basically take the form book from last year and tear it up and say there may be a team. There will be a team. Now, don't take this the wrong way. I don't think it'll be Cadillac, but I might be wrong. Maybe they know something we don't. But it could be Ferrari, let's say, could have all their they've been working long enough.
There's a chance for someone.
So anyway, we make this assumption that McLaren are going to continue their form into 26, and we really can't do that.
No.
But they did, let's say they're fighting for a championship again. They've got the experience of being in that situation. They will have learned a lot. But whether they've got the right strategy that Red Bull adopt with Max of throwing everything behind one driver is still a question. I don't know. I think when you're in a contention to win a title and you've got a driver like Max, it makes more sense to have a number one.
Right, I'm going to ask you a question. And that question is, after winning the World Championship with Williams, and then when you moved over to Arrows, what did you take with you? What did you learn to make yourself better? And of course, then a little bit later, obviously, with Jordan as well.
Well, the teams I went to after Williams were teams that were used to trying to copy the people who are winning. And the thing is, if you copy the people who are winning, you're always going to come second to them because they're already one step ahead. So you have to kind of introduce the idea that you have to find your own way. And you have to obviously keep an eye on what the competition are doing. But it's a bit like, Johnny, do you remember getting in the lead for the first time when you're in a race?
Yeah.
The's no one to follow, is there?
No.
It's a bit scary.
Not. It is.
You're out there and they're going to go, where have they all gone?
Yeah. Yes. It is
exactly
something.
that.
Yeah, it's quite it's almost scary moment because it's something you've never really been in that position. All right, you've done it in karting and Formula Ford or whatever it may be, but Formula One, it's a very, very different
So
thing.
it's the same for the teams.
Yeah.
So the guys at Williams, they were innovating, and that meant that they had no book to copy. They had no instructions. They were making up the future that everyone else was going to follow. And that's a very different place to be. It's, as you said, it's scary because you don't have a manual. you're just having to trust that your knowledge is the way forward.
Yeah, I'm exaggerating slightly because I led for a lap in Brazil, so it only lasted a lap.
Well, I meant karting.
And then,
yes,
I know that.
Experience.
Yeah, but F1 is a very, very different pressurised pot to be in. So
but
I think a different thing.
So with Jordan, when I went there, I had to kind of knock it out of them, saying, listen, it's no good copying what everyone else is doing. You need to be able to find your own way forward anyway. So,
but a driver needs to do that and needs to be able to teach them in many respects just to think differently and out of the box. Because I do remember that on strategy when we didn't have all the computers and everybody telling us what we should and shouldn't be doing. The driver sort of felt what was going on. And I do remember one race at Sauber in Barcelona, and I was the only driver to start on the soft tyres, which actually worked out being a risk worth taking. And sometimes, you're right, a driver's input, and I think Lando's input, we have more power than we think when we're in a team.
You mean political power?
Yeah, political
Persuasive,
power, but yes,
power.
Just power generally as a driver.
Well, so we were talking about Lando.
Yeah.
So I think the team have got faith. They got faith in both their drivers, but definitely what happens when you're a world champion is you have a little bit more cachet. So if I went from Williams to another team, they were going, oh my God, I got world champion in the team.
Exactly.
He must know something that's of value. So that gravitas you have, I think, is sometimes it's misplaced. I don't know. I didn't know everything. No. I only knew I only knew stuff. I didn't know how to design the car. I think they knew, but the mindset definitely
Yeah.
So you've worked with people who, like Patrick Head and Adrian Newey and so forth, who knew where they were going and how to go about doing it. So leadership is a big part of that.
It's very key.
If you can instill, as a driver, you can instill that into a team as well. You can say, listen, you can do it. You just have to change slightly the method you've got.
But his strength is going to be very, very important as well against Oscar, because you know probably better than I do, but I know he always tried very hard to try and take control of the team. You want it to be better and more in control over your teammate. Yeah. And that's something I think Lando's definitely got to do more of this season.
So will he grow? Yes. He will grow, and he will be very, very pleased with himself, proud of himself, as we saw when he won the championship. He was, and rightly so. The emotion was obvious, and I was a little bit put out by some of the comments that I heard after he won, because he has had a lot of help from his dad, and his dad's financial success in the world of business has been a help.
Yes.
But, he didn't do it because his dad was wealthy. And, of course, this is the thing with our sport, is that it's seen quite often as a rich person's sport. And you can understand why. Yeah. When you have someone like Lance Stroll, his dad buys an entire Formula One team.
Exactly.
And he's still
and he's got his own plane and all that
driving
stuff.
in Formula One because of that. That clearly is a very helpful asset. But no one can give you the determination to succeed and to drive yourself through what you have to go through now to be successful and deliver. I was talking to Trevor Carlin about the rise through the ranks of Lando Norris, and he was saying that the guy had no life. His whole life was angled towards delivering himself in Formula One as the finished article. Yeah. So all the training and all the preparation and everything that goes into being a driver. He's worked very hard for that.
Yeah, and it's a sacrifice as well. It's not the normal day-to-day life that a lot of people lead. It's something that you are just entirely focused on that journey to get to Formula One. And it doesn't matter to me if you've got all the money in the world, because if you're in karting, just for example, you can't buy a better team than the works team. You just are able to get into that works team that little bit easier. But when you're in that works team, you still have to deliver. And Lando was able to deliver in all the formulas that he was involved with. And I think he should get a lot more respect for those doubters, because he has sacrificed a lot. He's achieved a lot. He's up against a teammate who everybody says is going to be a world champion in the future. Well, he's beaten that world champion in the future. And I think it's something that with the strength that he's got from winning last year, he's only going to get stronger. And I think hopefully people will then give him that credit that he does deserve. Other people say, of course, he's in the best car. That's why he won the championship. And you sort of go, but as far as I can remember, I think every car that's won the championship in the last 10 years has always been the best car.
You started from a position of passion. You wanted to race. You went karting.
Yeah.
But your dad paid?
Yeah.
Yeah. But at those times, it was just about affordable.
Well, we used to take chains and tyres out of the bins that had been discarded,
So
and then
go and throw everyone in the paddock. No.
and then go and use those for testing. Yeah.
Sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying there.
Yes. No, we got all the stuff out of the bins, and that's how we were able to afford it.
You were scavenging.
Scavenging. Imagine if I did that nowadays. That would be frowned upon nowadays.
Well, it doesn't matter what it's frowned
upon.
upon. If that's what you have to do.
If you have to
so the point
through.
is,
Yes.
What I'm trying to get round to is, it isn't impossible. It's not insurmountable at a certain level. I mean, I think karting is way too expensive. There are ways of making karting, and the entry level to this sport much, much cheaper.
Yeah.
And I used to do Club 100 with Josh when he started racing.
That's right.
And the reason I did that is because I didn't know anything about karting. I didn't do karting. I started on motorbikes, but I could afford to pay for the bike myself, and I was a dispatch rider at the time.
Yeah.
So there has to be a level at which someone who can achieve some level of income that means they have expendable, and they choose not to go on holiday, and they choose not to go. They'll spend it on their go-kart.
Yeah.
There has to be a level there that enables people to get up the rung, and then somebody will spot you, because they have people out there now looking.
Oh, now,
and Red Bull are a very good example.
Yes, very much so.
They're out there scouting for talent, and
But we're both proof that actually I didn't have the money. My family had enough money to go racing karts. You had enough money to go into bikes, but you didn't have a bank full of gold bullion that you could just sort of pick and choose when you wanted it. You had to work for getting yourself on the racetrack as well. So it proves it can be done. And Esteban Ocon is the prime example for me now, who's in F1. He never came from money in the background. Lewis didn't have money. His dad worked very, very hard
to pay for it. So anyway, listen, that's my little soapbox moment there with Lando. I think Lando deserves because I think he's worked really hard, and I think what they've shown is with his dad Adam is that he's actually gone about it in an incredibly professional way.
Yeah.
But it does mean that you have to start when you're about 8 years old. I mean, so he didn't have this idea of getting sports people and breeding them and coaching them from such an early age. There's a cost to that in terms of their social development and all the rest of it. But anyway, that's the same. If you're going to win now, you're going to have to start very young, and
that's in any sport. That's any sport.
In any sport, football, of course,
golf, tennis, whatever you want to do, tiddlywinks, whatever.
Tiddlywinks.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I reckon I could start twiddlywinks now, and I reckon I could probably become world champion before I'm too old to play tiddlywinks.
Well, good luck with that one. Right, let's move on. Let's move on to another one. I think you've got one for me.
Isack Hadjar.
Yeah.
So, what an amazing season he had. I mean, from the beginning, in tears, being consoled, being abused by Helmut Marko for being a crybaby.
Yeah.
And then
being hugged by Anthony
Hamilton, who obviously something rubbed off from Anthony, because he just came back in a brilliant way. And what a personality as well.
Yes. And it's good to see.
It was great. So there he's earned his position.
Yeah.
Bye Yuki, sorry to say, but you did
another one.
You have a good go.
Another one.
But what will happen? Isack Hadjar, will he be the next, what's the word for them? Sacrificial lamb? I don't know. What are they? That seat is, Max has said you need to be a number one. You need to have a number one. Say, forget challenging him within that team. So what do you have to do? Max has said also that he needs a number two that can score points. In other words, keep the other guys off the podium.
Absolutely.
Or the number one slot somewhere, and take points off the other teams. Can he do it?
Can he do that?
Can he do it?
Can he do that? Now, if I do what he achieved last year, he showed probably one of the strongest strengths, consistency. And that consistency was there in qualifying. He was always sort of 6th, 7th, 8th, there or thereabouts for the majority of the season. But but he was also able to get points consistently as well. He was consistently ahead of Lawson as well, who had that little bit more experience. He probably wasn't someone that was on the tip of people's tongues when he was doing F2, strangely enough. He had a good time in F2, never won the championship. But I think he surprised so many people, probably including myself, because I did like his work ethic within the team, which was just to keep on pushing. It's a little bit like we alluded to earlier on. He seemed to be, you got it, alluded to. I don't
think our listeners remember Lulu.
I'm surprised you were listening. I'm quite impressed you were listening. But anyway, I got over that one. And yes, it was like we were talking about. He seemed to be able to be the one that was giving them the information that they needed to be able to produce what he was producing on the racetrack. Now, that's a strength that he can take to Red Bull, for sure. But that's exactly what Max is thinking in a much bigger way. Now, has Max matured over the last year? I would say absolutely yes. I was so pleased. There was all the talk about the last race in Abu Dhabi about backing everybody up and trying to get the championship won that way. He didn't go anywhere near that. He just went out and blew everybody out of the water, effectively. It was wonderful to see, just to say,
I mean, I have to say,
best.
when he said, I would have had this championship won way before anyone else if I had the McLaren, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, the papaya. It would have been interesting how papaya would have come into effect with Max being there.
So anyway, no, so yes, you're right. I mean,
I think he can.
What you're talking about is his personality is a factor. You're saying Isack Hadjar's personality is engaging.
It's got to be, yes.
I think the teams like to work with someone like that. He's
that's
got that.
Important.
Yeah. So he's not a quiet little mouse. He's someone who is expressive without being abusive.
Yeah.
You know, I thought he was. Some of his radio messages were a little bit fruity, but he probably didn't expect everyone to listen to them. But
no. Yeah, but you need that, don't you? You need that sometimes for someone to question what's going on.
Yeah.
And to make them think. Again, it goes back to what you said. It's making them think, well, maybe we're not doing the right call on strategy or whatever it may be. So a driver needs to do that. Does Max do that? Yes. Did Lewis do it in his heyday? Yes. All the greats used to do it.
It's that enthusiasm. Yes. When things go well, he's showing the team how delighted he is and how excited. And then that infects them as well. They get a kick out of it too. So he did a great season. Yeah.
But it's the big next. Is it one level more? It's almost like it's three levels more. Yeah. And that's where the pressure becomes from a family environment. And it's well done. That was a great weekend, getting 6th place or 4th place or whatever it may have been. That was a really good result. But you're not expecting that to happen every time. So the expectations are very, very different.
And also, he's sort of going to be the whipping boy for the team, isn't he? You know, the results. He is going to be the best he can do is a pat on the head from Max, isn't it? And the team sort of going, you did all you could.
Yeah,
I think he's going to have to accept that in that team, Max rules, and he's there as a supporting act. And it's whether you can get your head around that as a competitor.
Yeah,
because would Max do that?
No, absolutely.
So in other words, are you World Championship material if you can accept coming number 2? I mean, it has to be seen as, if he's going to go and do this job at Red Bull, he's going to have to say, okay, I'm here to strengthen myself, to learn, in order to be number 1 at some point somewhere. But how do you communicate that without upsetting the apple cart?
Yes. Well, the apple cart is an interesting one. When I was with Michael at Benetton, I remember I did an article somewhere and I said, I want to be world champion this year. And I think within about 2 hours, there was another article that came out in Germany that Michael responded to sort of say, if he thinks he's going to win the World Championship this year, he's got another thing coming.
And what happened?
And he was absolutely right on that front. But then with Michael Schumacher again with Eddie Irvine, what did Eddie Irvine do? He went into it thinking, I am number 2.
Yes, he did, yeah.
And that was probably the smartest thing he ever did, because he got very close to winning that World Championship in
he had
in
to. Well, he had to have Michael had to break his leg.
No, I know he had to break his leg. Yes, but his performances were very, pretty very good.
I have this image of Eddie going in the garage late one night, undoing the brake, or whatever it was that failed on Michael's car.
Yes.
But he was in contention for the World Championship. But
yeah, he was. But he was always, he had some very, very good races in that period. But I think within the environment of Ferrari, because he had accepted Michael was number one, that sort of made his whole feeling within the team much easier to deal with.
And probably Michael was probably more open.
More open, yes, exactly.
Because he's accepted that this is a guy who's going to help me, not try and challenge me.
So I think you have to play a little bit of that game, and that's what.
But this will never stop. This conversation will never stop with Formula One, because you have two championships, and the two ne'er the twain shall mix. Well, they're like oil and water.
Yeah.
Your Drivers' Championship, that's the thing that everyone turns on to watch. That's the thing that everyone globally wants to know, who is the Formula One world champion. That no one ever asks who the Constructors' Championships champions are.
No.
And it's a meaningful thing to the teams, and it's a meaningful thing to industry and so forth.
Yeah. So can he do it? Yes. Has he got to play the right game to be able to do it? Probably not next year. In the next couple of years, I would say probably.
Well, we'll watch with interest, won't we? But that is going to be very interesting to see how he copes.
Hopefully it's not another one that gets chewed by Max, but there's still a good chance that might happen.
I think what you're saying is it's how he deals with it psychologically.
Yeah, it is.
Because if you had expected to beat Max and then you found out you couldn't, then that can be crushing. But if he understands the terms in which he's going in, and of course Dr. Helmut Marko no longer being there,
that's a big shift.
I think that Lauren Meck is actually a more understanding.
Yeah, you can talk to him.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very helpful. Supportive. Yeah, exactly. Right, who will nail the regulations, or who will get them considerably wrong?
The immediate person. I mean, we all expect Adrian Newey to have seen through the regulations, as he's famous for doing, and come up with an absolute, rocket ship. But, I mean, it's a whole bag of regulations, isn't it? 150 pages worth of technical regulations describing a modern Formula One car. There's got to be a loophole in there somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
And
they will find it.
The expectation, as I said, then is Aston Martin will find somewhere. Adrian will have found something.
Yeah.
The question is there anything of a platform with the previous regulations that these cars can build on? The difference between the cars is, okay, a few numbers, it's a bit shorter, 200 mil shorter, 100 mil narrower, slightly different tyres, width, slightly lighter weight, the technical bit with the power unit and so forth, and being much more reliant on the battery pack. Those are technical things that we'll find out whether there's a magic loophole in those. But I mean,
we had one at the end of last year, didn't we, with the compression on the engine?
Yeah, so that
was the first one we heard.
So yes, lots of people have been moving from team to team. So you've got cross-fertilization of ideas, and people have come out of their contracts where they weren't allowed to divulge. They would have been under confidentiality clauses saying they couldn't have spoken to the teams and given information. How they police that, I don't know. But anyway, they
I've always been fascinated to know how.
So there's lots of tea shops in Oxfordshire where their people have gone in with kind of, those spy outfits,
hoodie and a hoodie.
Yeah, but no. I'm casting aspersions. I'm sure they all keep their mouths dumb until they're able to talk. And of course, once they start to talk, and they come from, let's say Honda, and let's say they go to a different team, Red Bull Powertrains or something like that, or then Mercedes, they swap over and they go from one operation to the next.
Move around,
and they get debriefed a bit like the spies in the Cold War. They put them in a room and probably grill them for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
But then the information leaks out, and one of the things was this compression ratio. Some teams, power unit manufacturers, generating a compression ratio that is higher
when it gets warm.
So it's the way they measure it. Of course, it's very difficult to measure something like that when it's hot. So when they measure the compression ratio cold, it's whatever it is, 18, 16 to 1 or whatever,
Yeah.
that what the regs say it has to
It
be.
has to be.
And then when the engine gets warm, things expand, things like the conrod maybe.
That's exactly what we were discussing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you do to try and make it expand? The conrod would make the most
Well, the
sense.
conrod would just, all you need to
Yes.
do is be lengthen it by a kind of few
Yeah.
microns or something under heat, which of course is, everything expands with heat.
Yeah.
The trouble is the
Uncontrollable.
combustion chamber also expands, so it should actually reduce. So some things will reduce and expand at different rates.
Yes.
So
the
anyway,
science of it, yes.
So clever stuff, isn't it? Anyway, so the question is, when it's running, which is obviously when it's useful, it's no good when it's cold. Is it got high compression ratio, therefore delivering more power? Have they found a loophole? If it's been raised as a question, it means the other manufacturers
which
have got wind of it.
It seems to be, seems to be
And
what
they're going-
happened. So it'd be fascinating to see where that
So
goes.
it might be nothing, it might fizzle out, but we are going to see this sort of stuff going on when cars are revealed. The FIA, just so people know, the FIA will have an idea of what each car is doing because they have an overarching. Quite often what happens is the teams have to submit what they're planning to do if there's any doubt, and then the FIA will say that's not what we intended, you're not allowed to do that, and that's a blanket rule that will go across all the teams.
Yeah.
Sometimes they will submit some suggestion and they'll go, we're not, you could look at it like that, and then they will not tell the other teams what they're doing. So the FIA, a very interesting kind of God's eye view position of knowing who might have an advantage at this stage, or might have seen something. They won't know exactly what they're up to, but they will know that they're asking questions about the regulations.
Yeah.
So-
Because the interesting thing with that, for people who don't know, is when they do the dyno testing for the engine, all that data effectively goes to the FIA, so they can sort of understand what they've been doing, how long they've been doing it for, and the wind tunnel was exactly the same. So they know everything that's going on, and they have so much information actually of every single team down the pit lane. So,
and of fuels as well. They're 100% sustainable this year, aren't they?
Yeah.
So there's kind of very difficult. I mean, they've got a massive job because they've got to understand that the chemical makeup of all these.
But
fuels.
it was a delay, wasn't it? If you remember, they were talking about it happening a couple of years ago, and it got delayed. I think when Audi first sort of spoke about coming in, and they delayed it for this year.
Of course, we haven't mentioned Audi, have we?
No.
So there you go. Another power unit.
Yes.
About to make its appearance, its debut appearance.
Historically,
in
they've always
26.
done very, very well in the different formulas.
So I don't know the answer.
No,
Johnny. I mean, we know on previous form, as I said, agent lots of expected. You can't rule out Red Bull, but they've lost a lot of people, have gone to different teams. Sauber are definitely. I mean, beg your pardon. Audi are on the rebuild. Maybe they've got some insights, but Ferrari are the big one. The Ferrari are a self-contained team in so much as we don't think there's so much crossover of information. They're very much a kind of in a silo type place, so we don't know what they've got up their sleeve.
No,
but
and
they have been
Mercedes.
working for a long time on this. As famously, Fred Vasseur said,
yes,
they gave up on the 25 car.
It looked
long
like
time
it.
ago.
It looked like it.
Yeah, so did Lewis. Anyway,
Yes,
so
it
he
did.
a lot of people giving up on that one.
And Mercedes as well, because Mercedes, you always expect, rumours are always have been going for a good few months that they've got the best sort of power unit ICE package.
So who's the
with
people who are
battery.
most likely to drop the ball? I mean, I think it's unfair to say Cadillac will drop the ball because I think they're going to be playing catch up
A big time.
for a long time.
Big time, yes. It's a whole new learning experience. Yes, there's going to be experienced people there, but it's a whole different scenario when you're bringing a whole new team, and there's expectations, I'm sure, from Cadillac themselves. And you're up against the greats of the sport, from the Ferraris of the world, Mercedes and Red Bulls and McLarens, for example. So it's going to take time. Have they got enough time for that to all come together down the line? I suppose we're all going to be talking, 4 or 5 years, probably. But I think it's going to be tough for them. I think it's going to be very tough. Got two great drivers who are going to be very, very useful, I suppose, for their input of the experiences they've had at various teams, Mercedes and Red Bull with Sergio. But I think they are going to be the one that's going to be fighting probably for those last few rows I would think, which is going to be a bit tough for them.
Right. So who else, though, do you think could be not being able to cope with these new regulation changes? I mean, Haas and people like that, they are
they did okay,
but they've got Toyota coming in as well.
There's a lot of ingredients that are going to improve the situation they found themselves in last year. And actually, last year they were doing some good stuff. Damon was really, really sort of hot. So
but that's this. I think a lot of people were getting to the end of the regulations.
No, I know that.
It was harder and harder for anybody to squeeze any more.
Motivation, not motivation, but sort of just having the right sort of things happening at the right time, to have the right mindset, to be able to move things forward in the right way. So at least they found a way of making that car work. Yeah, so they have an understanding at least of where they probably need to be working towards.
And as let's call them an independent, let's say a kind of team that is not got the resources of, say, the other teams. They don't have their own power unit and so forth. But IA's done an amazing job of, Komatsu has just done an amazing job, I think, of piecing together a team, taking over when Gunter left, and actually
great guy.
Yeah. And the team is good, the drivers are good, and the team's got a good spirit. And now they're going to have a bit of a leg up with Toyota, so they could be quite strong.
I think they'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think the one that's really going to be finding things tough is Alpine. I think Alpine are in a real big rut at the moment.
Are they going to go with Mercedes engines?
Yeah, but it's the whole package. It's everything, isn't it?
The Mercedes power unit.
Yeah, but it's the aerodynamic. It's the whole package of it, and you've got to be able to have the right ingredients for the battery to work with the electrification, to work with the combustion, but then you need the right aerodynamics. We've got all the technology with the active wings as well that are going to come into play. So there's a hell of a lot of new things that are coming in, and they're not coming off of particularly what I would say strong last couple of years.
No, they haven't. It's been chaos. That place,
it's been chaos. There you go. Now chaos.
Now,
how do you twist chaos into positivity?
You get a Mercedes power unit. That helps for a start.
It does, but it doesn't fix everything. It may be very, very useful, but I think there's more fundamental issues.
Who are they? Where are they going? Is a bit the question about.
Well, that's what I mean. It's all those little ingredients that are going to make it, I think, very, very tough for them.
Right.
So let's wait and see. And then RB, I suppose, is the last one that. They've had a good year. They've got Arvid Lindblad, who's 18, coming into play. Can they move themselves, or probably keep themselves in the position they find themselves at the moment? That's going to be very, very tough as well.
But they're a kind of minnow team, aren't they? They're a kind of they're plucky little, doing really well, but they've got the momentum to be a front running team, and because they're sponsored by the same fizzy drink.
Yeah,
you know that.
I know that. But from when we started in Formula One, there were some minnows, but they were very, very poor minnows, and they were really way off of the pace. But considering how small they are, it's how competitive they have been for the last 3, 4, 5 years, maybe.
So they do have the gap front to rear of the grid.
Yeah.
At the end of last year was unbelievably small. Yeah. It's like ridiculous. It was like minuscule gap.
Yeah.
They've got 107% rules. In other words, that would take it to, if it's a 90-second lap, that would be 97 seconds. There'd be 7 seconds off the pace in order to not qualify.
I wasn't jumping in on this one. I was going to let you work that one out.
It's simple maths. If it was 100, it was 100 seconds, it would be 7 seconds behind. But I mean, we haven't seen anything like that.
No, not like that.
In the sport. So
for a long time.
But the gaps front to back of the grid, what second difference will there be?
Oh, will there be now?
In this era, in 26, from the start of the first race.
Wow. Okay.
I reckon there's got to be 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say 3. Yeah, 3 to 4.
Yeah,
I'll go 3 to 4. Yes, I think there's going to be quite as you know, there's always when there are new regulations that come in, it normally goes from being very compressed, and then it all gets sort of stretched out. So I think that will happen again. So 3 to 4, I think will be my guess.
So there's people at the back going to got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So. Yeah, we're trying to put shape on this, and we haven't actually seen a wheel turn yet.
No, not yet. No.
But we'll either be right or we'll be wrong.
Yeah. And on that note, cup of tea.
Cup of tea, I think.
No, cup of tea.
And a biscuit, maybe.
All right, thank you very much. Now, you alluded to
I never allude.
Ferrari.
How dare you say such a thing?
Well,
I never.
you always have done. Remember, Secret
we'll
Squirrel.
have to watch
You
that.
always you never really tell what's going on. But anyway, but you alluded to Ferrari and Aston Martin. What about the drivers? Hamilton, one of the elder statesmen, and the elder statesman himself, Fernando Alonso. What do we expect from those two dynamics? How are they going to work?
Is this kind of like they're going for the late breaking? Fernando is not going to retire unless Lewis retires first. Or is this like because Lewis wants to be the elder statesman, but he's not. Fernando's going to stay around for as long as possible. Just to deny him.
Yeah, I think, he does come across that way.
To be
It's
the
quite
elder
funny.
statesman in
I'm not
Formula
going
1.
anywhere. I'm not going. No, well, it never used to be that way. Now it seems to be the case.
So they're going on. I mean, this is, I don't know. I mean, we keep mentioning Fangio. Fangio must have stopped when he was, 45, I think? I don't know. So he's getting up there, Fernando. But Lewis's ride has been bumpy, hasn't it? So we're getting on for, this year will be
soft.
5 years since Abu Dhabi, the fateful event from which he appears never to have recovered. Moments of... he won the sprint race in China.
Yeah.
Little moments when things looked like they were getting better. But he has had...
But more awful weekends.
More awful weekends. And if it's gone well for him, it's gone badly with penalties and other things.
Yeah.
So he's taken a beating like you cannot imagine this season, hasn't he?
Speed hasn't been there, has it?
And then he's got Charles, who has been fantastically
Consistently.
quick. And which one was I thinking of? His race in Qatar, or was it Abu Dhabi?
Don't know.
He was relentless. It was Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he really raced hard. That lap he did in qualifying in Abu Dhabi, the car couldn't do it, but he did it anyway.
And then trying to push Lando as well. Yeah, in the
So,
parts.
yeah, I mean, the question is, does Lewis need an uplift? Can the car provide an uplift? If the car's good and they're running at the front, will suddenly all the lights come on again for Lewis?
Because it's interesting, you're right. Is it the car? Is it just the specification, the way it works at the moment, that he just can't get his head around where it's at? In the past, I always thought anyway, he was always able to drive around the problem. And that now doesn't seem to be the case. But is it just a case of, I remember Sebastian Vettel, when we had the blown floors, he was fantastic with the blown floors. And when the blown floors got taken away from him, it was never the same Sebastian Vettel before. So it's just the car doesn't suit him? What do you think? Well,
the regulation changes seem to have an effect on various drivers in various ways. I've always thought that there is such a thing as a style of driving. So if you have... So in tennis, I always give the example. There's some people are great on clay, some people are great on grass. The conditions change and suddenly the player becomes different. Obviously, the greats can cope with all of them.
Yeah.
And if they don't have an aptitude for a particular thing, they learn it and they work it out. I think you'd have to say we saw last year with Lando and I think it was also Liam Lawson. He got some changes made to the front end of the car that brought it back to them.
Yes.
So in other words,
Lando, I remember, yes.
Yeah, but if you've got big regulation changes, as you said, Sebastian Vettel mastered. They kept on talking about how he'd mastered this blown diffuser, how to approach the corner, and then of course they took it away. And next year he was beaten by Daniel Ricciardo, wasn't he?
Yes, exactly.
And then Daniel goes to Alpine, and it's a whole different set of car sensations, and he can't quite get on top of that one. And then Lewis gets to a different regulation in 22 with the ground effect, the Venturi, I beg your pardon, Venturi effect cars, and he struggled with them. I mean, and it wasn't a competitive car; they had problems as well.
So can he turn it around with the changes? We don't know exactly what the cars are going to be like, but do you expect him to change, be better than last year?
It can click, can't it? I mean, I said to you when I went from Formula Ford, and Formula 3, there wasn't enough power, and I was used to motorbikes with a lot of horsepower at the wheel. small contact patch. And when I went to 3,000, suddenly I had throttle I could use to balance the car, and I was happier. So you don't need, you need something to change in the feedback you're getting. But I know what you're alluding to is whether or not the magic has gone over time, over 40. Does that ability to overcome just fade away and vanish?
Fernando still throws some great performances in, like last year he did.
He really does. But then
still did.
You get the sense with Fernando, there's a part of his career that went missing, you know, and I think he feels he's still got the fight. He wants to recover something. Whereas I wonder whether Lewis has had a bellyful. You know, the post race, he doesn't want to be there.
Oh no,
he
no.
I mean,
It was uncomfortable to watch, actually, and it was almost like, Lewis, don't do that. You never did that before. Don't do it now. You've done so much in your career. Yeah, don't do that one. But I get it. We get it. We understand that it's a frustrating place to be when you're trying everything you possibly can with all the experiences that you have, but you can't do it. It's not easy anymore. Where it used to be just you just put the helmet on, the visor went down, you just did it. And now he's having to work at it, and then it's that normal thing. You look across the other side of the garage, or you look on your screen, and you sort of go, "Oh my Lord, I'm still half a second, 4/10 off," and it's not happening. And then I go out in the first, in Q1 in qualifying, and it happens far too often. So the desire is there.
Where does it go? What is it? What is it? I mean, is it reflex? I mean, we probably need some neuroscientists to call in and say, because I mean, it's obviously will happen. We'll all lose our faculties as we get older.
Yeah.
But when you're younger, you think less and just do more.
Yeah,
and I wonder whether it's a kind of you actually getting in your own way. Psychologically, you're getting in your own way and trying to be more consciously operating things. And if you could get to the state of, you know, we always hear about the kind of Zen master, Kung Fu master, you know, who's 75 years old. And
yes.
You know, he can still lay everyone out.
Yeah.
Is that possible, or is that just a load of rubbish?
Yeah. That I don't know. But what I do know from my experience was qualifying was the first thing that I lost. It wasn't, I was never the best at qualifying, but I felt that was the first thing that went. Racecraft, that never left. That was always there. And probably the most powerful thing that probably came into play with me was that pushing it to the edge. I didn't feel comfortable being able to push it to that edge again as much as I would before, which was literally, well, if I crash and I go off, I'm willing to take that risk. And then that shifted and changed. And then your performances go down because I think you're not pushing like a Max does, or a younger generation.
There has to be in your mind
a mental thing.
The thought, you've achieved a lot. You're Lewis Hamilton. You've achieved a lot. You've got so much to enjoy that you've not been able to enjoy because you've been working as a racing driver your whole life, and you're probably thinking, part of you's thinking, when this is stopped, I've got so many other. That's what I thought. I thought there's so many other things I want to do.
Yeah. So there you go. So your mind has moved away from what you're supposed to be giving your all to.
Completely.
And when you can't give your all, it's not, you're never going to beat Max,
because you're in a tunnel,
or Oscar or Charles or any of them, because they're in a different mindset. So it's probably a mindset, I guess. I know he's got the desire, but he's got a lot of other stuff that goes on outside, which he probably didn't do when he first came in to Formula One. Is that the shift that's maybe interfering?
I mean, it even affects Max. I mean, these guys, although he's only 28, he's been doing it a long time.
A very long time.
So his whole life has been dedicated. And maybe he's been a little bit pushed by and managed by Dad a little bit as well. But Helmut Marko said something quite interesting. He said he needs a competitive car in Formula One. Otherwise, he starts thinking about, I want to do Le Mans, I want to do Nürburgring, I want to do something else, I might do this. He gets distracted. He wants to go, he's got an ambition to do other things. Well, he's only 28. He hasn't even started yet.
Well, it's even the family thing, actually, with Max as well coming into effect. It's a much, to me, I don't know about you, it comes across as a much softer Max than it was before. But then I go to Spain, and his little sort of wheel banging
The
with George. So there's still elements of that side that's still there. But I think as a whole, he's matured massively. But the maturing of Lewis has already happened. It's already done. Now, where is that level now?
So we're comparing Lewis with Fernando because clearly they're at the tail end of their career. The question is, will they make it all the way through this? I mean, I actually think Fernando is massively excited to see what Adrian comes up with. He's finally found himself.
What he's been waiting for.
It could happen. It could be.
And this is
the oldest ever Formula One world champion.
Yes,
no, next to Fangio, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
But modern times.
He also had a 24 out of 20, 100% qualifying. Out-qualifying his teammate record last year as well. Yeah. He likes these little victories.
He does.
He's a brutally harsh competitor.
Yes.
But so could be good. But Ferrari gives Lewis and Charles a great car and come out with something really surprising next year. And suddenly he's fighting for poles and he's fighting for a championship.
Yeah, maybe. Again,
what a story that would be.
If I look at those two, I go, right, which one would I expect if he was given the car? Which one would be the one I'd put my money on? And I'd probably, unfortunately, sadly say, I'd probably go Fernando. Because Fernando is still,
I think Lewis,
in a bad car. I know, in a bad car. I'm just saying, he's in a bad car in that Aston Martin. It's not the best. It's sort of there or thereabouts sometimes. But he's able to sort of squeeze that extra something out of it. And I never saw that happen last year with Lewis, which I'm sort of shocked that we never ever saw that. And I'm sure he's very frustrated and shocked that he wasn't able to do it. And then I look at his face in those interviews after the race and you go, he's lost. He cannot understand what he needs to do to get around the problem he's got.
And it's not, of course,
Charlie's getting around it.
And also it's been going on for 5 years.
Yes, precisely so that's what I mean.
Really hard
psychologically
to drag yourself out of bed again, to get a beating.
Yeah.
So, but
quite literally.
I still believe that if you gave him a whiff of victory, then I think that fire would reignite. I think you'll see
a lot of people hope so.
the best of Lewis in his last season.
I hope so. But again,
I'm saying if he wins it, would he give up?
But I will also throw into there as well. It's almost been a team that Charles has created again around him. There's that side of it that is going to come.
He seems comfortable there, and and of course he's got youth on his side. So when you're looking to the future, people are not going to. They won't be going to Lewis and saying, "Do you fancy doing another 5 more years with us?"
Sure.
No.
Yes.
So that's what we think about those two. Two of the most interesting people in our sport, along with Max, but they've been real. Fascinating people to follow. Yeah. And watching their travails.
Yes, indeed it is. Yeah.
So I suppose the big question then is, Max, can he win? Are Red Bull up for it? Have they been decimated by the loss of so many key personnel over the last 18 months or so? Adrian, Christian Horner.
Yeah, no, sure.
He went. Yes. You got Jonathan Wheatley's gone off to Audi.
Marco's
Marco's out
gone
of it
as well. Yes,
and they've lost 1 or 2 other key people.
Will Courtney,
and
he's on his way. Is it
chief mechanic
McLaren?
as well, I believe.
Yeah.
So, the team has been stripped of some fairly major personalities, but the ball kept rolling. They kept the fight up till the end. So something is still there that is making Red Bull a very effective fighting force. So I think my guts are telling me that team is still got what it takes. And I think Max would be making more noises. He would be unhappy.
Yes.
And he doesn't seem to me to be unhappy. No. He didn't finish 25 unhappy. And what he said was at the end, I think we should be proud of ourselves. I know he came second, but we fought brilliantly. Yeah. He was lifting the team up.
Yeah, he was. And rightly so. They won the most races.
Yeah.
They won 8 races, or Max won 8 races, and everybody else was 7 and 6, I think it was. So it's a good place to be. Laurent Meeks, I do like. He has really fitted in, and at the moment he fitted in, they actually were in a very good place.
No,
but it actually got stronger and stronger, and Max seemed to be more, from what I understand, more involved with decision making of direction where they needed to go. And that seemed to be the powerful thing. It's what we spoke about earlier on. A driver's input can be so powerful, and I think that definitely came in. But I think Laurent got that into.
He seems to be a perfect fit, doesn't he?
Yeah,
for what he's there to do.
Yeah,
yeah. So I agree.
So yes, things changed massively, and you would have sort of normally thought, well, this is just going to implode on itself, as in Jos was saying, it's going to implode on itself, but it hasn't, and they've been able to sort of.
They've been through an absolutely dreadful last year or so, haven't they?
Yes,
with all the goings on. So
goings off track,
and don't forget also that they've finally come under the control of the Red Bull parent company, is kind of, and that battle that went on with the Thai part of the family and so forth, that's been resolved, I think. So they're now able to have people who can make decisions and make proper changes in the way they want it to. So I think there is a determination there and a financial backing. Of course, if people keep buying fizzy drinks, then they're going to not be short a few quid.
No, indeed.
And their success and all the rest of it. So I don't think they're out of this at all. I think in any way, in any sense, I think they are one of the most taut, cohesive fighting teams in Formula One. If they can survive the loss of all those team personnel and still be there.
Big question mark. They've done very, very well with the awful situation that Honda found themselves in when they were at McLaren. But that all got turned around with Red Bull and the success that they've had over the last couple of years, and especially even last year, the end of last year, and how strong Max was. But it's a very different scenario with a relationship they've got with Ford. It's an in-house built power unit as well. It's a damn complicated. It was complicated enough last year, and this is going to be another complication on top of that. Have they been ahead of the ball? I'm not sure the relationship was sort of there when it first was being touted that it was going to happen with Ford.
So we should just let everyone know they're not with Honda anymore.
Nope.
They are now doing their own Red Bull powertrains power unit with Ford providing the electrical complicated side of things, and also I presume the battery and so forth. Battery technology is so big name.
That is going to be. It's a big name, and it's got wonderful history with Cosworth and everything else, and motorsport general in all forms of motorsport. But this is a very, very different competition that you've got with the likes of the success that Mercedes-Benz have had, for example. We know they've always been ahead of the game in many respects with the power unit itself. Now that's what they're fighting against. In-house, they're a manufacturer of fizzy drinks.
Yeah,
they're not a manufacturer.
No, it is, I mean,
that's where it's different.
You have to say, as a team, being able to take on things that they need to have in their armory and make it work. Their record is incredible.
Absolutely.
I mean, as you said, fizzy drinks company. They built up a race team. They've gone into the highly technical manufacturing world, and if they're power unit is any good, that would be an amazing achievement. Yeah,
it will be. But it's going to be one hell of
big
a
question
test.
mark, I think.
Big question mark.
Yeah.
But that's where I think Max has been very smart, because he's been able to now look at what everybody else is going to be doing, including his own team, and then potentially he'll be able to pick and choose where he might want to go.
So that's the other thing. In being in his position, he can ask them. He can say, well, where are you?
Yeah.
If you want me to think about going somewhere else, you show me some figures.
Yeah.
So he'll be able to compare.
I'm sure there was a little bit of that with Toto. I'm absolutely convinced there was a little bit of.
Oh, you mean showing a bit of ankle?
Yes. Indeed. I think there was a little element of that. And that is something that you would expect someone in Max's position and his team to try and work out where he's going to be a better place.
That's a whole nother show.
No, I know
how they go about.
But it's interesting, because that's going to be the mindset that we're going to see for next year.
So we've put our incredible brains to heart. We've been working hard, haven't we?
Very hard. I know.
This show, as it does its show. But so we're going to predict a winner.
Yeah.
The winner of the championship.
Oof. Yes, okay.
Okay, what about team? Team, who's going to win? Constructors, come on.
I'm probably going to go Mercedes, because I think as a parent at the moment, I think it's working very well. I think Antonelli's probably got to improve on his consistency. That's probably his weakness at the moment. George has done a brilliant job for them. I'm sure they're going to be at the sharp end, fighting for race wins and potentially the championship. But I tell you what, I'm going to go George.
Do you know, I think you've nicked my answer.
Oh, yes, boom. I like that one.
Because we've been spending so long talking about the usual suspects and that. And I think there are question marks over Red Bull. And I think I would say the dark horse here is George Russell, who performed brilliantly, consistently all year in a car that was not a regular winner.
No.
But,
Yeah.
I think they're in a good place. Secretly,
I think they are. And Antonelli improved a lot last year. I think he will be stronger as well.
Yeah.
And if the car is a car that's, let's say, going to be the dominant force, they have the right pairing from a constructor's point of view as well, winning constructors. So I think it could be a double win for them.
Maybe what about a surprise team who could leap into the mix with the big boys?
Ooh, well, the only one, I suppose, and I don't know if you call them small or not, is Aston. Aston is the only one that, with the brand that it's got, but actually its performances, it's underperformed in many respects from the name that it's got. But it's that time of Adrian and his team to produce the goods. I suppose
they can't. They can't complain. They've got the resources.
Yeah, got the resource, and they've had time. They've got the wind. I think the wind tunnel's all sort of up and running. So that's another little tool that's going to come into play as well. So they've made all the right decisions. Now it's implementing the whole package.
Williams did a great job to cement their place, but I don't think they're ready yet. There's still a bit of work to do in building.
Moving in the right way though, which is good.
Yeah, their technology base really is. I think they've still got a bit of a climbing to do there. But anyway, so there you go, Johnny. We predicted. You don't even have to watch the rest of the season. We basically explained it all to you, and we know exactly what's going to happen.
Yes.
So it's on to next year. Really.
It is, yes, it is.
Unless we have to revise everything we've said.
Oh, there will be revising going on the whole way through the year. Well, that's the end of that episode, Damon. Now, we've got a lot of interesting things coming our way soon.
Real cars going round real tracks, hopefully.
Yes. Launches.
Some launches and all that stuff.
Yeah,
we won't have to rely on our Mystic Meg crystal ball predictions. Will be put to the test.
Yes.
Things are actually going to happen very, very quickly.
Well, there's going to be a lot of rumours going about as well, as always.
And we'll have another show talking about all that. So
you got it.
Lovely chatting again, Johnny.
You got it.
See you in about a month's time.
Yeah, indeed. Cheers.